The MoonBoard is the most non-friendly beginner board that's commercially available on the market. However, it is an excellent tool for building applicable climbing strength via getting stronger fingers. But it is such a shame because beginners and weaker climbers cannot utilize it in a more fun fashion because the climbs are very fingery and very hard. And I am heartbroken to see some climbers quit immediately because they tried the MoonBoard, hopped on some sandbag V4 and immediately got shut down. So I have concocted 10 V2/V3s on the 2016 MoonBoard layout. And all these problems are easier on average than the average V4 benchmark by a good obvious margin. I also made sure that these V2/3, mainly 3s, are very similar to outdoor grades. So if you could do all the V2s and 3s, all 10 of them, you could definitely do V2s and V3s outside. I have elected to name them all 23-1, 23-2, 23-3, so on and so forth. So if you heard about moonboarding and tried it and got shut down, well, here's your opportunity to try again and not get so shut down this time, hopefully. So try out these 10 problems that I have concocted. Now, at the end of this video, I will be running through all 10 problems, giving you the beta video, and I'll be giving a little bit of tips as I commentate over the climbing in a sense. But before then, let me just give you some general moonboarding tips. Number 1 is square foot holds. The best place usually to place your feet on the square yellow footholds are on the corners. The corners are relatively sharp and therefore they'll grip your shoes pretty well, as opposed to the top, which is a little bit slopey, higher chance of slippage. Now combine this with 2, drop knee. If you're finding the starts hard, just drop knee left or drop knee right. You will immediately find that it's several times easier to do most starts doing it this way, as opposed to taking it on from a straightforward approach. Of course, you can also drop knee at any point of the climb. 3, smear and push. You take the leg that's not doing anything and you just smear it against the wall. It doesn't even have to be a good smear. As long as you put some pressure against it, it's good enough. And then when you go for the next hole, you simply push it away in the direction that you're heading towards. This provides balance and a little bit more oomph in the direction that you're heading towards. And it won't be a big motion, it'll be quite subtle, but subtlety can be quite effective. 4, actually pull up. When you're holding a hold, don't just reach. Physically pull yourself towards the hold. This may sound simple in theory, but in practice, it is quite easy to forget. Do not confuse holding a hold for polling. 5, give each problem like 5 good attempts, rest like 3 to 5 minutes per attempt. But really just make sure your fingies aren't too messed up and make sure they still feel good, basically, and you should totally be fine. I would like to complain because it was surprisingly hard to make easy problems on this very difficult board. Wham. Now that I am done complaining, I hope the problems I made are enjoyable. And yes, you could skip holes, but if you do, that probably means you're too strong for these problems. But I did try to make these problems with as little cluster as possible with the method of feet follow hand. I tried to make them fun and be diverse as well, but again, it was difficult. Let's hop into the beta segment. So for most of these problems, you're gonna notice that I start with a pretty hard drop knee. Not this one, but with the left hand hold, you can mash it first before you hit that throw. And when I'm designing these problems, I did try to diversify them a bit, though it was quite hard. And for all the finishes, I do want all you guys to make sure it's nice and concrete. Like, check out this drop knee start. It's really nice, it's prominent. And after looking at, by the way, this is 30-23-2, which is the hardest problem that I set. And if you could do 23-2, you could basically do all of them given enough time. Just a fair warning. But here, check out this amazing drop knee. So right before I even go, I anchor it in and then I pop out into it. And it's very obvious, and I'm going to repeat this over and over again because I only now realized this, but you see those bottom 2 green holds? I used those exact same bottom 2 green holes for like 8 of the exact problems, for like 8 problems. And I didn't realize it until I was watching the videos on playback. I was like, oh, I should have chose different start holes. But then I was like, oh, no, it was too hard. Again, check out this awesome drop knee. I push it really far. I anchor it, establish it did not go up. And I think a common theme about all these problems in general that I try to do is I try to make all the moves the same level of difficulty. So if you could do one move, you should theoretically be able to do the entire problem, was my thinking. Of course, that didn't always pan out the way it did pan out. And right here, my right foot, I smear it a little bit to the right to help flag me out and help balance me out, all that good stuff. With a lot of open hip climbing, you see my heel, and then I switch it to a toe, and then I hit the drop knee to bump out all the way to the top. It's all this, just these little minute stuff that helps you get to the top. It's not always a strength thing. Although when I was setting these problems, I was totally extremely fatigued and tired. I was working on like 3.5 hours of sleep, but that's totally on me. But regardless, it's always important to move your feet first before you move your hands. This is the only problem where I had 2 hands finish. Only because I wanted it to be a finish on the black hole, but I couldn't make it happen without it being too difficult. Again, you notice that epic drop knee every single start of this. When you finish doing all 10 of these problems, you should know how to drop knee extremely well, because I have you doing it all the time. You're welcome, kinda, in a sense. But I do think that all these problems are, again, much easier than the V4 benchmarks, and they should prove a challenge without being too annoying. Check out this drop knee. Look how epic that is with the awesome cross. And I have really become a fan of these 2 white start holes. It's quite fantastic for the easier problems. Now, when I was setting these problems, one of my friend, who was not super strong as me, did help me forerun them. So that was really nice to see that, oh wow, this is applicable to climbers that aren't super strong. Yeah, check out this epic drop knee. By the way, did I mention like all these starts are like an epic drop knee start? It is so cool. Again, all the feet holes, nice, with the right hand bump, switch, bah, nice. And I think this problem is really good because I did use 2 yellow holes so that you'll get a little bit accustomed to those as well. But it's not so hard that it's impossible. Problem 10, not a bad one. I think problem 9 was probably one of the coolest problems I set. But this one's not too bad either. Check out this drop knee. Oh, that's such a cool move right there. And then you go to the right hand yellow, which I'm really proud about being able to use the yellow holes on these easier level climbs, just so you get a little bit used to it in terms of the acclimation process of climbing on the MoonBoard. And now if you diligently take your time and you work your way through these 10 problems, honestly, I feel like you will be a lot more comfortable on the MoonBoard. Obviously, it's not the end all be all, but it should help you tremendously. If you do happen to do them and you are not a super strong climber, you should let me know in the comments once you're done with like the problems. Tell me how they went. Did it make the MoonBoard more enjoyable for you? Because that's what I'm really trying to do, is make the MoonBoard more enjoyable for newcomers so that they get roped into the brotherhood of moon climbing and system board climbing. Because once you do, it's just so much easier to gain applicable outdoor climbing strength, and I think that's really, really nice. And not to mention, makes your fingers really strong. Anyways, that was that. I hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, partner. Ooh.